In Asgard, there was a belief older than memory itself that one god, Balder, the god of light, could not be harmed. But the terrifying truth was this: they did not know it was true until they started testing it, and every test made the lie feel more real. Every morning in the great halls of Asgard, laughter echoed as spears flew toward Balder and shattered before touching him. Fire bent away from his skin. Stones turned harmless mid-air. It became entertainment, a game with immortality. But in the far corner of the hall, one figure never joined the laughter: Loki. He did not look at Balder with admiration. He looked at him like a question that had never been answered. Not all gods were born into light. Some were born into questions that never had answers. Loki was not like the others. He was born of giants, raised among gods, and never fully accepted by either world. And Loki never tried to become part of either world, because he understood both were already unstable. In Asgard, he was useful, but never trusted. He fixed problems the gods created, but the gods never forgot that he was often the reason problems existed in the first place. And Loki understood something they did not. In a world built on certainty, uncertainty is power. One morning, whispers spread across Asgard. Balder had begun dreaming of his death. The dreams were not vague. They were precise, cold, inevitable. Because even in a world ruled by gods, a dream of death feels more powerful than immortality. Frigg, his mother, the goddess of fate, refused to accept it. She traveled across all realms. Fire swore not to burn him. Metal swore not to cut him. Stone swore not to break him. Beasts, diseases, poisons, everything pledged protection. Soon, Balder stood at the center of existence itself, untouched by harm. And that was when peace became unnatural, because perfection always feels like something waiting to collapse. Loki did not rush. He listened. He observed Frigg's oath-binding across the worlds. He watched the gods celebrate what they believed was absolute safety. But Loki noticed something no one else questioned. In a universe where everything had been asked, one thing had not been. Not because it was dangerous, but because it was too small to matter. Mistletoe. A plant so insignificant it was ignored by fate itself. And in that silence, Loki found possibility. Not evil, not rage, just possibility. And that was enough. And in that moment, something inside him shifted. Not toward destruction, but toward inevitability. Back in Asgard, the gods turned Balder's invulnerability into joy. They laughed as they threw spears at him. Thor's hammer bounced away like it had struck a dream. Balder smiled calmly at each attempt. And Loki joined them, not as a participant, but as an observer learning rhythm. He studied how they trusted certainty, how laughter made them careless, and how even gods forget that rules exist only until something breaks them. Among the gods was Thor, Balder's blind brother, quiet, isolated, unaware of the game happening around him. Loki approached him slowly, not with force, with direction. The world does not need to be pushed to fall. Sometimes it only needs to be pointed. "Why do you not join your kin?" Loki asked gently. "I cannot see their game," Thor replied, and silence between them was heavier than any war ever fought in Asgard. Loki placed something in his hand, a small twig, light as nothing, and pointed him toward the sound of laughter. Thor stood still for a moment, unaware of the weight hidden inside what he held. The distant laughter of the gods echoed through the hall, growing sharper in his silence. Loki did not rush him. He only waited, as if time itself had already agreed with what was about to happen. The hall fell into silence without realizing it. Even sound seemed to hesitate. Hearth raised his arm. The gods watched casually. It was still just a game. The twig left his hand. For a fraction of time, even reality seemed unsure whether it was allowed to continue. Then it struck Balder, and reality did something it had never done before. It failed to protect itself. Balder collapsed, No scream, no struggle, just silence replacing light. At first, the gods did not understand. Their minds refused interpretation. Impossible things do not fit into thought. Frigg ran to her son. Her oaths shattered in her mind like broken glass. And then came the realization that froze Asgard completely. Only one being had known about the forgotten weakness. Only one had understood what had been overlooked. Loki was not present, because he had already left before understanding could catch him. Because absence is sometimes the clearest sign of intent. Asgard changed that day. It was no longer a realm of gods. It became a search. Across mountains, oceans, firelands, and voids, they looked for Loki. But Loki did not run like prey. He moved like consequence. Because consequences do not escape, they expand. But searching for Loki was never about finding him. It was about realizing what he had already changed. They found him eventually, not through battle, through inevitability. Loki stood alone when they came. And for the first time, he did not speak, because even words understood there was nothing left to fix. They bound him beneath the earth. A serpent was placed above him, dripping venom onto his face. His wife Sigyn stayed beside him, catching the poison in a bowl. The air beneath the earth was heavy, silent except for the slow drip of venom and the sound of restraint. Each moment stretched like eternity, as if even time was forced to witness his suffering. But when she left to empty it, the venom struck. Loki twisted in agony, and the earth above trembled. Even punishment could not silence him completely. Deep beneath the world, every movement echoed like a storm trapped in stone. The chains held his body, but not the force of what he had become. And above him, the world reacted, as if it could still feel his suffering. Baldur's death was not just loss, it was exposure. A revelation carved into reality itself. If something once untouchable could fall, then nothing was truly safe. Not gods, not fate, not order. Only the illusion that they ever controlled any of it. And somewhere deep beneath the world, Loki understood what no one else wanted to admit. He had not destroyed perfection. He had proven it was never real. And somewhere beneath everything, Loki stopped being a person and became a question that could not be answered. And still, beneath stone and silence, Loki waits. Not as punishment, but as memory. Because ideas cannot be chained, and truths cannot be undone. And questions like that never stay buried. If you made it this far, you have already stepped beyond ordinary stories. Because this was never just about gods. It was about what happens when certainty breaks. If you want more stories where myth becomes danger, where gods fall, and reality cracks, like this video, share it with someone who believes myths are just stories, and subscribe, because the next story may not stay in the realm of gods either.